Hearty welcome to one and all. What are the characteristics of effective communication? So, if the communication should be effective, decoding and feedback. Already we have seen about the feedback. And now what are the characteristics? This diagram, completeness, it must be complete, clarity. So in what way that it is clear to you, that is clarity, and concise, because the communication should be as short as possible. I shouldn't talk for 3 hours. So it should be as minimum as possible. Concreteness. Concrete means solid. That means I shouldn't meddle with the message. So I should talk in a clear way, and the message should be crystal clear. Okay. So in military and all, you could have seen they are not giving stories or very long episodes. The crystal clear message, do what I say, do or die. That's a concrete message. And coherence. Coherence means time coherence. Suppose now I speak something, after some time I speak something else. Okay. So that shouldn't happen. And the physical setting, almost the physical setting and also the way that I am giving the message. And then courteousness, courtesy. So I shouldn't use very rough language and all. So the teacher should be as courteous as possible, because in the olden times the teacher was a general, military general like that. So the tyranny. But nowadays the situation has changed a lot. And so the completeness, the clarity, the concise, concreteness, Sai, coherence. அங்கே எங்கேயாவது வச்சிருங்க, ஏன்னா அது எக்கோ வருது, வேற எங்கேயாவது தூக்கி வச்சிருங்க. Coherence, physical setting, and courtesy. So all these are the effective communication. If anyone is missing, then the communication will not happen. That's why the teachers sometimes say, I have taught well, but nobody is listening. Why should they listen? Because the communication should be effective. Otherwise, what will happen? The student may not listen. And therefore, any one of the component may be missing. Either you may not be coherent, or the physical setting and the conciseness. In most of the government schools I have seen, the physical setting, it's very chaotic. And the benches, chair, and very awkward and very unclean setting. And the teacher also very unruly and very, what to tell, rude teachers, particularly the government teachers that I have seen, and very rude behavior, courtesy, because the student is not my slave or he is not my enemy. And the student has so many problems at the home also, and therefore I have to be courteous to him. But in most of the government institutions, that may not be missing. And the concreteness, the clarity, the completeness, the wholesome. And so, if all the things are there, the communication will be effective. Otherwise, what will happen? You have taught and nobody could have understood. And then, these are the different stages of the problem solving. Sir? Sir? வேற ஏதோ இதாயிடுச்சு, இது மாற்றணுமே, இதை கொஞ்சம் வெளியே வாங்க, ஏதோ ஒன்று மாறிடுச்சு, வேற ஏதோ ஒன்று வந்துருச்சு. நான் அனுப்பிச்சது தான் அதுலேருந்து தான் போகணும். So, as I have told you already, the completeness of the message, that means that the message should be complete, and clarity, the sentences shall be short and simple. Always prefer active voice. Active voice means I did this. Passive voice, this work was done by me. So instead of using the passive voice, always it should be active voice. Concise of the message, so it should be as short as possible. So the least the message, the more effective. And therefore, you know Tirukural, கடுகை துளைத்து எழு கடலை புகுத்தி குறுகத் தரித்த குரல். That means that Tirukural is hardly some 7 words or 1.5 sentence only, but the message. And therefore, because we are highly praising the Tirukural because of its conciseness, the clarity, and the concreteness. And so all these are the properties or characteristics of good communication. So I think you have understood this well. And then the coherence. Coherence means the temporal coherence. That means that what I tell now, because it should be consistently constructed, logically organized, and sequentially presented. See, for example, there should be a sequence. Otherwise, what will happen? There may not be any coherent, and so you may not understand what is the meaning. Physical setting and the courteousness, all that already that we have seen. And so a rude presenter will never get audience, even if he delivers important and effective message. Students, am I audible? Any problem?
It's clearly audible, sir. No problem, sir.
No problem. Okay. What are the types of communication? Now, there are different kinds of communication, and the most important communication, the verbal and non-verbal. Verbal means through words. Non-verbal, not by words, by any other human cues or some psychological behaviors. So the communication using the words to share the message, that is called the verbal communication. I think it's easily understandable. So the oral presentation, the spoken words, and the sender conveys the words, feelings also. Suppose the way that I am expressing the word, that tells the feeling also. I am happy, I am sad, my thoughts, my ideas, my opinion. There are much difference between all these: word, feeling, thought, idea, opinion. Opinion means my internal judgment, that is called opinion. Idea, what I want to do. Thought, what I think. Feeling, what I feel, my psychological underpinnings, and express them in the form of conversation, speech, presentation, and discussion. So, my dear friends, verbal communication is not a simple speech, and it is incorporating all this. And as a teacher, you have to have all these and all. Sometimes you have to feel. Okay? More than what we just talk. Talking and communicating are entirely different issue. I talk, but had I communicated? Always it is not true. I have talked, but I may not communicated you. Involves how a person delivers a message and how the other person receives it. So I am delivering, but to what extent that you receive. And it is very essential to improve verbal communication. Therefore, Tirukural also says much about the communication. That means avai aridal. So, in what way that you have to speak in an audience or gathering, that Valvar has told a lot. That means that he knows the importance of communication. Practice, and you start actively practicing verbal communication. So, my dear friends, you have to practice the verbal communication. It won't come in a day or two. You have to practice. So, what is the easy way? You just, some people may have some stage fears and all. So, you go a long distance, and where there is nobody, you simply speak whatever you want to do, whatever you want to speak. And whatever, so the extempore speaking, that all of you have to practice. Then only the communication will come. Otherwise, it may not be much effective. And then the non-verbal communication, actually, most of the communication is happening through non-verbal only. The words are limited, but the non-verbal communication is endless. The passing of messages or signal through non-verbal platform, facial expression, eye contact. Now I am looking at you. Generally, as a teacher, always I look at the students face to face. I never look at the board. I look at the students face to face. The eye contact, the gesture. See, for example, if you are doing like this, now what I do? What is the meaning of the gesture? That means that I am tired. And the posture, see, in what way that you are sitting. Suppose if you are sitting like this, that means that I am not in a mood to teach, so I am thinking something or I am tired. And then the distance between the individual. So you have to maintain the proper distance. This is in the classroom communication. It should be not too close. You shouldn't be very close to the students. Some teachers I have seen very close to the student, and the student feels very, what to tell, somewhat difficult or uneasy, and it shouldn't be too large also. Some teachers I have seen, and except the board and the table, they won't come near the students. Visual clue, distance and physical appearance and the environment and touch, a simple tap or a simple gesture, that is also a communication only. And include different action, frequency of glance. See, for example, suppose I am looking at all the student, and once in a while that I am particularly looking at a student, that means that either I am giving more importance to the student or vice versa. The eye fixation, suppose some student is copying in the exam. What I do? I fix my eye on the student. I won't say anything. See, for example, I know that a student is copying in the examination. So what I tell? I won't tell anything. Simply, I am glancing the student with eye fixation. That means 1 or 2 minutes continuously. If I see the student, automatically he will understand that the teacher is watching me. The pupil dilation. Pupil means, this is called the pupil. That means the front side of the eye. See, suppose by the exhilaration or by happiness, suddenly there is the pupil is dilated or contract. And so that is also a gesture only. And the blinking rate. For example, sometimes that you can see some students are blinking the eyes because of tension or any other reason. So the blinking of eye is also a form of communication. It is not always true, but it is also one. Conscious and unconscious process of encoding and decoding. So conscious and unconscious, that means many times the communication has so many internal cue also, okay, and that is expressed by words. See, for example, that I am telling my boy, what does it mean? What is the meaning of And what is the answer? That means that the father is compelling the student, that the boy to do something, and by the gesture, the boy is replying by a physical gesture only, like that. So there are so many physical cues. So all these are different forms of non-verbal communication, and so the non-verbal communications are also as equal as the physical communication. So whatever that I have told you, the facial expression, face is the index of the mind. So the face is the index of the mind. There is a kural also. Muham, aham kaduttadu kaatum muham. That means that aham means inside, muham means face. So if you are angry inside, naturally that your face will express it. So you cannot, it's very impossible to hide your expression, and automatically that it will be seen. Okay. And so the facial expression, that's why most of the politicians and some people, they are wearing the cooling glass and all. That's not for cooling the eyes. That is for hiding their expression. A smile. So smile is a communication. Okay. And so it is freely available. And so most of the people, mostly that smiling faces are always winning the hearts. And the behavior may vary, but in most of the culture, the happiness, sadness, fear, suppose an American or Indian or African or Australian, all are showing the same facial expression for happiness, sadness, fear, because the human beings are more or less same. And the gesture, and then the paralinguistic. Paralinguistic means certain words that we are giving for certain words. That is called the paralinguistic. That means we are emphasizing some word. See, you look at you listen my word. You did it. You did it. You did it. You did it. That means the same three words. You did it. You did it. You did it. You did it. That means that different emphasis that I am giving. The modulation. நீ பண்ண in Tamil. நீ பண்ண நீதான் பண்ண. What is the meaning? நீ பண்ண நீ பண்ண. That means that the emphasis is on different words. See, for example, I will give some example. That means that by raising the intonation, some strong tone of voice, that we are giving more stress. So the words are same, but the meanings are very different. See the next diagram you see. Look at the table. I did not tell John you were late. That means that I didn't say, somebody else told. I did not tell. That means that it didn't happen. I did not tell. That means that I didn't imply. I did not tell John you were late. That means that the stress is on John. That means that John is not late. Somebody else was late. I did not tell John you were late. Then also somebody else. See, you look at the same wordings. Okay. I did not tell John you were late. That means that you were not late, you are also late. And so all these are different form. See, Kannadasan told, 400 ரூபாய் தருகிறேன், நான் 100 ரூபாய் தருகிறேன், 300 ரூபாய் தருகிறேன், முன் 100 ரூபாய் தருகிறேன், 200 ரூபாய் தருகிறேன், 100 ரூபாய் தருகிறேன். So 200, 100. See the difference. And so in that way, by changing the intonation, that we can change the meaning of the sentence. So all of you, most of you know some many examples like this, and so you try to, that is understand, and you try to coin more such words. The body language and the posture reflects emotions and attitudes. Most of the thinkers, they are putting their hands at the back side like this. Suppose you look at me, suppose you look at my posture, suppose if I am putting my hands like this, that means that I am courteous and I am very polite. Most of the people, by expressing this, that means that they are very polite. And the eye gaze also. So the eyes are telling the impressions. Haptics. Haptics means through touch. And so through touch also that you are communicating. It is mostly in between the mother and child. The mother and child, by simply touching or kissing or caressing, the mother is telling the child that I love you, or that is I am caring for you. So the haptics means by simple touch. Okay, men are more likely to use touch to state power or control also. So different connotations. And your appearance. So how you are appearing, the color, the clothing, the hairstyle, hippie style or this style or that style. So they are all telling the what kind of a person you are. So all these are communicating only. Okay, the police people, by the appearance they are understanding what kind of a person you are, and therefore the police people easily they identify the criminals. How? Their appearance itself will say what kind of a person you are. Suppose I am a teacher, and so my dress code, and in case if I am a media person, that may be a little bit different. And so the clothing, the hairstyle, the other factor, all these are important for communication. And therefore, you are talking about the personality. This course is talking about the personality. The personality does not come by wearing good clothes alone. All these parameters are also contributing to the personality, and in particular the communication. And therefore, that is all the, that is literature and all, the communication is given very much importance. And artifact, what ornaments or what things that you are wearing, artifact and all. So these are all, see for example, a doctor is wearing a white coat. So what is the meaning of the white coat? So why shouldn't be a black coat or green coat? Because the white color is a color of peace or harmony, or it is a color for love. And so by wearing a white coat, the doctor says the patient that I care for you. So the peace. And if the doctor is wearing a black coat, black color is a color for somewhat sadness. White color is for peace. Green color for life. That's why by the particular dress, red color for valor or the bravery, and yellow color for the depth of knowledge. And so the people, by wearing that particular cloth, they are expressing what kind of a personality they are. So you know the politicians also, some people all the time they were wearing some yellow clothes or yellow what to tell towels or green, like that. So it all depends upon.